Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Rod. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Please introduce yourself and the name of your business.
Well, I'm Sarah Englade. I own Monarch Talent Solutions. We're in Houston, Texas. We're an executive headhunting firm.
Awesome. We so look forward to learning more about your business, and we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I didn't start off in headhunting. I think a lot of us that get into it, it's on accident. Like no one goes to school for this. So started my career actually in medical aesthetics. I was in sales, just selling big packages to women that just wanted to look better and feel better. And I got a little burned out from it. And from there, I gave my resume to a girlfriend who just started as a headhunter. Now, this is back in like 2012. I had no idea what a headhunter was, but I gave her my resume. She set me up with an interview. And it was weird because I thought that they were interviewing me to try to find me a job. That's how headhunting works. But they were more or less trying to figure out where to place me in Houston. Like, hey, we like her, she can talk. So I had an opportunity to join the largest firm globally and started taking over downtown Houston as a staffing manager for administrative staffing.
Okay.
Was with that company for 6.5 years. Went to another company. I had a non-compete, so I couldn't work here in Houston. Ended up finding myself in Memphis, Tennessee, then Dallas. Then the pandemic hit. And once the pandemic hit, we were all sent home, worked remote until I was ultimately laid off in September of 2020, which is what opened the door for me to start a business. I had never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. I never dreamt of it. It wasn't like my life dream was to open up a company. It just was opportunity that I seized the day on and Googled, how do you start a company? And started Monarch. We're about to hit year 5. But we're exclusively in the Houston market. We work with oil and gas and manufacturing companies, and we sit in the space of senior to C-level accounting, finance, and HR professionals. So we're niche, we're in a niche market. But that is kind of the story and my come up as a business owner.
Awesome. That is amazing. You went in thinking that you were going to get put out there to try to find for them to find you an opportunity, but they were actually trying to get you to work with them. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you were doing those 6+ years when you were just getting started at the staffing. Tell us about what you were doing then and some of the challenges that you faced getting into a new organization.
So I was with one company for 6.5 years that gave me the most amazing foundation because I didn't know how to recruit. So I was specifically in downtown Houston and I only did staffing, so temp and temp to hire. And it was high volume staffing for all industries that were more administrative roles. I got bored of it. I mastered it. I became really, really good at it. And I remember driving to work one day. I'm not even gonna lie. I remember exactly where I was. And I was like, God, I do not want to go to work. Like, I'm sick of it. Because that fast volume, like that high volume staffing, you're getting phone calls at 6 o'clock in the morning. My receptionist didn't show up. This person didn't show up. And it's my job to find that person. So it didn't matter what time of day. It could be 6 in the morning. It could be 9 o'clock at night. It was always a 911. So I had this immense amount of just dread all the time. And talked to my manager and was like, listen, I hate my job. Like, I just said it.
Okay.
And she's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't want to quit, but like, what's next for me here? And that's when she moved me into temp staffing for accounting. So that was actually my first intro into accounting. I don't have an accounting background. And I remember asking her, like, how am I going to do this? And she said to me, ask questions, just ask a lot of questions. So I learned the accounting and finance space from meeting job seekers and just asking them over and over, talk me through a normal day in the life of you.
Yes.
And so I learned the lingo and I learned how that, was rocking and rolling. But my story is sort of unique. I became a top producer after 6.5 years. I was somebody that was overseeing teams and really acting as a mentor. I was getting acknowledgement, being able to take these promotions. And then if anyone knows anything about staffing, it's competitive, it's sales, and it became a really toxic environment for me to be in. And I acted out in that way. I was probably like, I kind of make a joke of it now because I had to work through it, but I had golden handcuffs on.
Okay.
So I thought I was making a ton of money. I was scared to quit, but Rod, like between me, you, and everybody that I've shared this story with, I was miserable. I was literally miserable. So I ended up getting a talking to that led to a demotion, that led to a firing. So I did get fired,
Mm-hmm.
not for my performance, for my attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up job searching. And, I think like I share my story because it's actually not unique in the staffing world. It's super competitive, high turnover.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to share, I was fired, I was fired, I was fired on repeat
Okay.
while I was looking for a job. So
Yes.
for, the 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I was interviewing, I had 6 job offers, and all 6 job offers knew I had been fired.
Yes.
So they didn't care. They knew the organization. All of them
Mm-hmm.
know the organization that I came from. They
Yes.
understood it.
Right.
Some of them even knew who fired me. So they were like, "Yeah, you get
Yeah.
a pass,"
Yeah. Right. Right.
which was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But it was
is that when you made the transition into Memphis? Or
Yeah, it is. So
okay.
I ended up taking a job that you have a non-compete in sales. So
Okay.
I had a non-compete. So even though I was let go, they were holding me to it. They didn't want me to work.
Oh
So they were
goodness
making my life a
gracious.
little miserable. So yeah, I had a non-compete, and the company that I went with actually created a role so that I could get around the non-compete. So I had to leave Houston
Mm-hmm.
and ended up in Memphis, Tennessee for the first 6 months of my non-compete. And then when my job was done there,
Mm-hmm.
I went to Dallas. And
Okay.
then the pandemic hit, and I got laid off eventually after that in September of 2020.
So you were sharing that you had no idea or no thoughts of becoming an entrepreneur, and you've had experience though in the industry that you were in. Was there an event that happened that made you say, you know what, I'm going to burn the ship and go all in on myself instead of worrying about these other corporations?
Yeah, I think it was honestly the fact that I was a top producer and I was bringing in a ton of money for companies. So when I actually got laid off from the company I was working at, I sat down with myself and it took me 5 minutes, not joking. I did simple math,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, the market it's not going to stay like this. In recruiting, you have to ride the wave.
Mm-hmm.
When the market's really good, it's excellent. And so I did simple math and was like, I can do this on my own. Like, I don't want to keep going back and working for these agencies and organizations that I'm making a ton of money for.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when I'm sitting down and looking at the numbers, I'm not wearing like golden handcuffs. I thought I was wearing golden handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth was, I wasn't.
Okay.
So it made sense for me to actually go in all in on myself, because I do believe this. Like, once you place a bet on yourself, you're not going to fail. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't fail. I don't have a plan B. This has to work. So every single day I wake up and I go to work,
Yes.
because what's my alternative? I'm not going back.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, you started to tell us a little bit about what it is that you're doing and who you're serving. Let's dive a little bit deeper into it and tell us all about the business, who you're looking to get in contact with, ideal clients, and all the sorts.
So I only work in 2 industries here in Houston. I work in oil and gas and I work in manufacturing. So because I'm in the accounting, finance, and HR space, I'm specifically targeting those folks. So I place a lot of what I call buyers. So if I'm reaching out to a CFO, well, if they're building out their finance team, they're going to reach out to me to say, "Hey, Sarah, I need a financial analyst. Find me an FP&A manager." So, I sit pretty kind of in that senior to C-level spot
Mm-hmm.
where my conversations on an every single day basis are with the C-level or controllers or CHROs and higher ups and human resources. Because again, a lot of the people that I'm talking to, hoping to partner with to build their teams out, they're also job seekers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also talking to them about their next move. What does it look like for you? A lot of people right now, unfortunately, because the market isn't great, and a lot of people really aren't talking about it, I guess, on LinkedIn. But the truth is, here in Houston, oil and gas is not doing well at all. I mean, there's been, like, I'm calling it the great oil and gas consolidation. There's a lot of people out of jobs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with the trade war and tariffs, it's affecting manufacturing, my 2 industries.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tell you the amount of conversations I'm having right now with these senior to C-level folks in the space that I play in, it's incredible, because a lot of people actually need help right now.
Yes. Now, is it where you have to continue to go out and find these people, or have you already created a big database where you already are in relationships? Or tell us how we can help you to acquire more people for you to
It's a little bit
staff.
of both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both. I live on LinkedIn. That's
Mm-hmm.
my platform. I have a pretty decent following, but I'm very exclusive with who I partner, like who I connect with on LinkedIn. So I exclusively work in Houston, Texas. So the vast majority of my connections are here locally in Houston. And I've
Mm-hmm.
also been recruiting for 13 years. I have a very strong network of these folks.
Okay.
So a lot of the time for me, when I do meet new people, it's because they've followed me on LinkedIn or my brand somewhere on a different platform. It's word of mouth, somebody that they know, a family friend worked with me. They liked the experience. So I get a lot of referrals. Good people know other good people. So we love a referral.
Hmm.
But we always just say, like, listen, like, if you need help, if you know someone in your family with the accounting, finance, or HR background that needs a little bit of guidance, even just market intel on what's going on,
Hmm.
reach out to us. You can reach out to me specifically directly on LinkedIn. You can go through the website. Like, we're always here. We want to act as a resource to help as many people as possible.
Nice, nice. Now, you said that right now the industry isn't looking as great as it could be. Can you give us a little bit of prediction of where you think things are going to go?
Oh my God, that's like the number one question I get asked
Yes.
outside of how soon can you find me a job, which that is actually not how headhunting works.
Yes.
It's this question. Okay, so I've been doing this for 13 years. And so I've hit a couple of recessions and a couple snags in the market, and you just have to be able to ride the wave. And so right now, the market started to go down in Q3 of 2023.
Hmm.
So we all started to feel that 2024 was sort of a disaster. And then 2025, well, 2024, let's talk about that. It was a disaster because it was an election year. So we all knew it was going to be like that.
Hmm.
People kind of hold on to their purse strings a little bit tighter. People aren't quitting or looking for new jobs because of the instability or the unknown. So a lot of fear is what holds people kind of still. So
Hmm.
there wasn't a lot of movement in 2024. And now this year, again, because my market is so specific, I do think that the market's probably going to take a little bit of time to regroup.
Hmm.
So I'm predicting after doing this for so long, and I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know everything for certain,
Hmm.
but I think we're going to probably see a weird market until 2027, if I'm being honest.
Okay, okay. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you believe you're going to do to try to help you get through that. You know it's there. You've been in the industry. You've been through it. What are some of those things that you're going to set yourself up with to still have success in this downtime?
Yeah, this doesn't even scare me. I think the best things are built in down markets. So I usually go like double down on marketing. So
Hmm.
I do not skimp. We don't take money out of the budget to pay different bills. Marketing is number one.
Hmm.
So, with us, what we want to do is, I think a lot of business owners, they need to kind of pay attention to this part here is that a personal brand and a business brand is a non negotiable at this point in 2025. You have to have one.
Hmm.
So, right now with the down market, the content that I'm creating is teachable content. It's different tips and tricks, whether it's, going through the interview process, negotiating offers, how to search for a job in 2025. A lot of these folks that are laid off here in Houston haven't had to look for a job for over a decade. It's like, welcome back to the market, but it's a different game now.
Hmm.
So just teaching as many people, because what I want is people to see my name and my face, because when the market does turn and it goes in the direction that we're all knowing and waiting for it to go in, I
Hmm.
want them to remember me.
Hmm.
So that's the biggest thing is I think people make the mistake of when it's bad, they take their foot off the gas because everyone else does. They're
Hmm.
like, oh, well, it's bad. I'll just wait, another year and then we'll start going heavy. No,
Yeah.
I follow metrics. I make metrics for myself and KPIs. Marketing is a huge part of the brand.
Hmm.
So marketing, we don't skimp on. So that's the piece there that we just go very hard, especially in a down market, because it's required for you to come out swinging basically in an up market.
Awesome, awesome. I definitely appreciate that idea because the purpose of this show is for entrepreneurs to watch other people's shows and get an idea of how they can continue to push. Yours is very specific, geographically, industry wise, and it seems like you have a great handle on it. So you definitely appreciate you sharing your strategy of how to make it through. Now, I'm confident that your years in business, you have acquired and nurtured some additional business skills or best practices that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing some additional ones with us?
I definitely think some of the best practices for me when it comes from a financial perspective, I read a book called Profit First.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, when you start a business, a lot of us don't have money in the very beginning. We have no money. So a lot of these books on how to manage money don't make sense until you start making revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been very, very, very financially savvy with the business. So and I think it's very important for a lot of new business owners who will find early success to get seduced by that success. And once you get seduced by success, you start, making big purchases and kind of going, getting a little crazy. Somebody else that wants it more, somebody with audacity is coming up and they're going to take over. They're going to, swing in and that's your competition. They just beat you.
Hmm.
So for me, I think it's really important for new business owners as a business practice to really understand the finances of running the business. Make sure you have someone that's looking at the books for you and that you're being able to pay your taxes. So I think that's huge. I think a lot of people, I hear from more of my peers that also own companies, oh my gosh, it was so hard for me to pay my taxes. It's very easy for me to pay my taxes because I've already planned for it.
Hmm.
So I just think it's more about that. Other business practices would be like you have to really invest in your network. Like it is true, like your network is your net worth. Like if you're not out trying to do one or two networking events a month, like I don't go weekly. I'm not the most outgoing person. I'm super introverted. So actually, networking takes a lot of, um, I don't know, energy out of me to
Hmm.
go, but I
Hmm.
have to go. I'm a new
Hmm.
business. I can't
Hmm.
just rely on just the brand. People have to see me in person.
Right.
And I think it's really important that if you are building a brand for your company, that who you are online and who you are in person is the same person
Right.
because that builds credibility and trust. So there's
Awesome.
that.
Yeah, those are great tips. I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Same way with us, we have built the business on networking, building relationships, nurturing them, and trying to continue to bring value to them. Therefore, when opportunities are there, we get those referrals. So thank you so much for sharing those tidbits. Now, we've talked a lot about your journey, some of the ups and some of the downs. We've also talked a lot about your business and those business skills, but I want to turn the corner just a little bit and talk about Sarah. Now, Sarah, let's just say that, you're able to stabilize things until your predicted time, and then time and money becomes no issue for you at all. What is it that Sarah would do with her free time?
I would move to the middle of the United States of America, in the
Hmm.
middle of nowhere with hardly any Wi-Fi. And I would have this huge garden, lots of animals, and I would just literally be left alone in peace and quiet with myself, if I'm being honest. Like if I
Yes.
had all the money in the world to just disappear, that's
Uh-huh.
what I would do. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Now let's talk about the garden and the animals. So, what would be some of the things that you grew in that garden?
I literally all the vegetables and fruits, so I wouldn't have to buy them at the grocery store.
Okay.
So, like anything that I eat, whether it's berries, lettuce, cucumbers, peppers, onions, potatoes, I don't care. I'm growing it.
Okay.
And as far as animals, I'd probably have cattle,
Okay.
and probably lots of dogs.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you're having chickens and rabbits and all those things, or were you having the larger animals or not?
I mean, I would throw some chickens in because you get the eggs and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
probably definitely in the plan when I have all this land because I envision this for myself. Like I'm
Yes.
a
Yes.
visual thinker. I manifest these things. So yeah, I want to be able to survive
Mm-hmm.
without having to rely on, supermarkets and stores and things like that.
Have you gotten the barn color down? What color are you painting that
I'm a
barn?
traditional girl, just red.
Red. Red. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That with the weather thing on the top with the
Uh-huh.
chicken.
I'm traditional, like whatever you think, like old America, that's
Yeah.
what I want.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's
Yep.
a good deal. I definitely appreciate you sharing that because, yes, we on the show, we talk a lot about business. But the reason why we do these things is so we can have that bucket list and check them off. And I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, if someone that is watching the show has a question about your business, have a question about those skills that you possess, what is the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Two ways. The easiest way is LinkedIn. So if you just look up Sarah Englade, Englade on, I think I'm like the only Sarah Englade. It's easy to find me on LinkedIn. Shoot me over a DM and just make sure that you mention how you heard, where you saw me or heard me speak. That way I'll respond back because our DMs get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I live on that platform from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. So I'm going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Or email Sarah at monarchtalentsolutions.com.
Awesome. Awesome. We truly do appreciate you coming on and sharing about your business. And we always honor our guests by giving them the last word. So please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
If you're a business owner or thinking about starting a business, there's no perfect time. There's never a perfect time. It's not like, let me wait till I save this much more money or this much more this or whatever. All the stars will never align. If you want to start something, do it because it's the things that you don't do that you regret at the end of the day. And the biggest thing that you can also do is do not compare yourself to others. Like comparison is the thief of joy. What other people are doing, celebrate in their success. Karma comes around and hard work always pays off. So if you're in a spot too, if you own a company and you're maybe feeling a little bit like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, don't quit, because it's always that quitting mark of 3 feet from gold that will never, ever leave you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks. Nice. Hold on a second. Let me stop it.